What are regulators up to? In this series, we attempt to understand the latest regulatory changes and how it is likely to impact your business. The United Arab Emirates Financial Intelligence Unit has issued Regulation Number 1 of 2026, significantly strengthening the nation's anti money laundering framework. But to whom does this apply? It is strictly binding on all reporting entities operating in the UAE, which includes financial institutions, designated non financial businesses and professionals, and the virtual asset service providers. Under this regulation, entities must promptly file a Postponement Suspicious Transaction Report or PSTR whenever they suspect tainted funds present an imminent risk of being transferred, withdrawn, or dissipated. Once filed, you must immediately refrain from executing the transaction for 3 business days unless authorized earlier by the FIU. While an indicative threshold of 500,000 dirham is provided to gauge urgency, this threshold does not apply to high threat offenses, third party money laundering, or terrorism financing, where a PSTR must be filed regardless of the amount. So, how is PSTR different from standard STR? It comes down to imminence and immediate action. A standard STR reports suspicion but does not inherently trigger automatic pause on the transaction by law. A PSTR is an urgent mechanism specifically triggered by the threat of dissipation. Crucially, filing in PSTR does not replace your standard compliance. It is a complementary obligation, meaning you must still file standard STRs for non imminent historical patterns or related accounts. For international compliance professionals, this framework shares strong similarities with UK's consent STR or Defense Against Money Laundering regime. Just like the UK system, where financial institutions must request prior consent from the authorities before moving suspected criminal property to avoid a money laundering offense, the UAE's PSTR requires entities to pause, report, and wait for a statutory window to expire or receive formal clearance before proceeding. What are the consequences of non compliance? Non compliance can result in imprisonment and a fine up to 1 million dirhams. When does this take effect? The regulation enters into force exactly 60 days following its publication in the official gazette. Ensure your internal escalation protocols are active 24 by 7 to execute these suspensions and freezing orders without delay. Stay compliant and stay secure.